Sonic as a platformer is unique in that while he has fewer levels than most other platformers, those levels are made to be replayed many times over to learn them so that you can beat the game as quickly as possible. That has been the backbone of the series since its inception. The idea of less levels but the game being way more replayable. Obviously we have the ranking system, the nature of Sonic level design being more trial and error based, and it was kind of necessary since Sonic goes so fast, they would have to make fewer levels. So the game devs had to make these levels good so that players would come back and play them. But because of the nature of Sonic, when a player is met with a level that they don't like, the more skilled player might just go, skill issue, you just have to learn the level, and kind of just dismiss any issues the level may have and blaming it solely on the player, which is dumb. So instead of doing that, we're gonna talk about why the first run through of a Sonic game is the most important of them all, and to even begin to understand that, we need to understand what makes a good Sonic level at its core, because once we understand that, we can understand what levels do a bad job at it. So, what makes a good Sonic level? Well, we know that Sonic at its core is about speed being a reward by learning the level, so on repeat playthroughs you learn the most optimal path, so that you can keep going faster. So the best Sonic levels in my opinion are the ones that are easy to get into but hard to master, and as the game goes on the levels obviously get harder, so when you master that harder level it feels way more rewarding. But on that same coin you have to make sure that the level is also not overly punishing or completely unfair for you not knowing the level layout by heart. I think games that don't do that particularly well are the Dimps games, because they love to place bottomless pits everywhere, so if you have no idea where you're going, you're probably just gonna fall into the abyss. Now looking at some good level design, my favorite example of this is SA2's City Escape, which is in my opinion one of the best intro stages in gaming history, because it does such a good job at being a tutorial without shoving it in your face that it's a tutorial. And not only is the level easy to get into, but once you beat the game and unlock new abilities, so many other paths open up and you start to learn the most optimal path for that stage to go forward. And my favorite level in the whole game of SA2, Final Rush, is my best example of the hard level being super rewarding to master. It takes all of the skills that you've learned in the game, and sure, while the whole level is a bottomless pit, it's honestly not that hard. There's a lot of protection in the level that you really don't notice. It only starts to get hard when you start to master the level, and that's where the fun comes in. And it is honestly my favorite level in the entire series, probably beating out King of Valley after some time. And if we look to the future of this series, those games are way more speed oriented, with quick reaction times and knowledge of the stage being way more important here, because in the games like Sonic Gens and Shadow Gens, things are flying at you at Mach speed, but the good levels are, again, the ones that are easy to get into and hard to master, and mastering them feels fun. Like for example, in Rooftop Run, if you mess up a jump in the 2D section, you won't die, but you'll be brought to the bottom path and you will be punished for it with a slower time. And it is clear where that top path is and what you have to do. Or even in the first level of Sonic Generations Modern Sonic, if you stomp on this bridge, you get access to a secret path, rewarding exploration and experimentation. Shadow Gens, while not being as fast as these games, still has that reaction-based skill with alternate paths. And with the introduction of Chaos abilities, these moments become way more creative, like using Chaos Control at the right time, or using Chaos Spear to activate a switch. For nearly the whole game, it's done in a way where it's not a hindrance to your enjoyment. The game is already fun, but it gets even more fun when you start to master the game. And it really helps that the controls for these games are really good, because remember, the level design and controls go hand in hand, and all of these games' controls and level designs mesh together perfectly. Now you may be asking, oh, but all these games still need you to replay the level to get good at them, but you're missing the point. The reason these levels are bad, what I'm about to talk about, is because they only get fun after you master them. They're not fun when you first play them, they're not fun during the process of mastering them, they're only fun once you've basically mastered them. Some Sonic games that really struggle with this are Sonic Heroes, shocker, Sonic 06, double shocker, and Sonic Unleashed, the other half of Sonic Unleashed. And I'm only talking about the boost. Don't even get me started with the Werehog. I beat that horse to death. 06 is easy. The game controls like garbage, so any good level design that might be present is just done away with how terrible the game plays. Heroes is a whole other thing, because listen, you know my distaste for the game and how I think the game is utter dog shit. And I think this game is the worst offender of these games only getting fun after you master it, is because one, the game is so broken, so you can't even have fun if you tried, and because this game wants you to play it one specific way to have fun. You have to learn how to get through the levels one specific way. You have to learn how to use the combos one specific way. And it doesn't help that the game is extremely volatile and can be so buggy that now you also have to learn how to move around the levels a specific way so that you don't set off the bugs. Don't worry though, this is what the people call mastering the jank, as Sonic Heroes defenders will put it, which is stupid by the way. If you have to learn how to avoid glitches, I think the game is already fundamentally broken at that point. But you get my point, the game wants you to play one specific way, and I think if a game forces you to play one way to have fun, then I think the game just isn't fun to begin with. Now, Unleashed is where things start to get really interesting, because I was praising the game earlier, but the game, and I'm talking about the boost stages again, has a weird difficulty spike halfway through the game. And I'm gonna sound kind of like a hypocrite because Jungle Joyride is my favorite boost stage in the game, but I cannot in good faith say that it was a good level when I first played it. It is one of those levels that only get fun once you master it, unfortunately. When playing this game on original hardware, we're not talking about recompilation here, when the game was running at 10 FPS, especially when that level is probably the most reaction-based level in the whole game, where you'll be dying a lot because you have to quickly react to things coming at you at max speed. Hell, even on recomp, this level is unprecedented with how fast you have to react to stuff. You're not really prepared for this level, I have to say, because the game doesn't really throw this type of reaction time at you. And it wasn't until later, actually pretty recently, where I really started to love the level, because guess what? I already mastered it, so I know how to get through the level the most fun way possible, which I don't think is a good thing to have. But then we get to what is undoubtedly the worst level. Bear with me now, okay? Because I'm gonna rant, I'm not gonna piss some people off. But I cannot excuse how poorly designed and structured that level is. And I know this is the last level and it's supposed to be hard, but this isn't strictly about the difficulty. So when you spawn in, you start off as Boost Sonic, so you're already thinking, okay, it'll be the same rigmarole, one day level and one night level. Come to find out that it's one big stage where you have to alternate between Day Sonic and Night Sonic. No breaks in between, so it's a long, straight shot to the end. And for most people on a first playthrough, it won't be 10 minutes. Hell, it won't even be 20 minutes. It will be 30 minutes on average to beat the level on a first playthrough. That should never be the case for a Sonic game. Hell, most platformers in general shouldn't take 30 minutes to beat one level. But it's even worse here because you have to alternate between two radically different playstyles. Do we at least get a balance between the gameplay styles? Nah, what the fuck? You get 5 minutes of fun and then 25 minutes of boring and slogging gameplay of the Werehog. And the level design itself is a whole other basket. The first part, honestly, is not bad, but once you get to the Werehog, it bogs down, man. The first part honestly isn't too bad, but it's a lot of combat, not the Werehog strong suit, and you go back and forth between day and night. I have more gripes with this level, maybe I'll do it in a separate video, but I have to say, this is the most forced difficulty spike in the entire game, probably the entire franchise, especially since you haven't upgraded your Unleashed meter, because at the end of the level, you have to fight two of the big bosses. Eggman Land is the perfect example of how not to make a Sonic game because of one fatal flaw, the length of the level. There's a happy medium that we agree on, between 3 minutes and 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, because it's in the area where it's not too long, but it's not too short. This level says fuck you and decides to be 6 times longer than that. Hell, even Heroes at its worst isn't that bad. And I think this perfectly transitions into my main point. Why is the first playthrough so important? Because in order for someone to even want to replay the level in the first place, it has to be fun on that first playthrough. I think this fandom has forgotten what a first impression is, and as we all know, those are everything. Going back to Eggman Land for a second, I promise, this is the last time. 30 minutes is ridiculous, and if you want to restart the level, you have to start all the way from the beginning. For a lot of people, including me, I would lose any interest in replaying this level ever again because of how long it is. Even a speedrun can take like 11 minutes for a speedrun of one level. It's the level's one fatal flaw. But even looking at other games like Sonic Gens with the levels like Planet Wisp, sure, the intro is good, but then the rest of the level is just really blocky 2D platforming that can get kind of confusing if you don't know what you're doing, and takes up to what the rest of the level, what could be like up to 5 minutes. Or Shadow Gens, again, me being a hypocrite, Chaos Island is one of my favorite levels in the game, but it's not really fun until you learn how to use the Doom Morph because it slows you down if you don't know what you're doing, and it's not really explained to you super well. So if a level is not fun until you basically master it, then why would I replay it in the first place if I didn't have fun with it after maybe 4 or 5 attempts already of full playthroughs? We're not talking about like just restarts, we're talking about full playthroughs. And you can yell, oh, but Sonic is about speedrunning. Speedrunning takes practice. You can get a good speedrun from a good level, but you do not get a good level from a good speedrun. You just got better at playing a bad level, so you avoid all the shitty parts. Skyscraper Scamper Night. So let's say you have a whole game where all of the levels are just slogs to play through, or just so mindlessly boring that you have no desire to come back. And we can see this with Forces, a game so dull and so boring that any urge to play it is just non-existent. Besides, what? Boosting over the whole level? What fun is there to have? And those saying, skill issue in the comments, skill shouldn't determine the quality of the game. I hate when people think that the game can only be engaging if it's hard. That's dumb. A level can still be fun and offer up a challenge without being designed like ass. That's why the best levels like City Escape, Final Rush, Rooftop Run, Kingdom Valley from Shadow Gen specifically, Seaside Hill from Sonic Gens, Final Egg, Red Mountain, all of those levels are already inherently fun, but learning to master them and learning the challenge makes them even more fun. But having to trudge through learning a level that is designed poorly to only then have the base level of fun through learning a poorly designed level isn't good design. I guarantee you, once that first playthrough is done, a lot of people will just drop the game. Hell, some people won't even finish it. And that's why that first playthrough is so important, because if that first playthrough is fun, then it will make people actually want to come back and play the game again. You know, the whole point of Sonic. But if it's bad, it will deter them away, not wanting to play the game again. And it's not a skill issue, it's not just a get good thing, the game just isn't fun. And just like the GOAT Reggie always says,
if it's not fun, why bother?
And that's really all I have to say for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment down below. What do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Are you still gonna say skill issue and be ignorant? Let me know, guys. Let me know. Guys, update. We have 10, well no, as of uploading this video, probably on Saturday, you will have, what, 8 days until the deadline submission. So get to work, buddy. Get to work, because you're gonna be running out of time. Like, please extend the time. I'm gonna be like, no, I already extended it twice. This is your last time. So get to work. And that's all you have to say for today. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.